Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. I've got some sales to share with you today, and I did this concept before where I share 20 sales that brought me over $20 in profit each, and it seemed to work out well when I did it before, so that's what I'll be doing again for this video. And all these sales happened in the last 4 months. It's currently the end of April, so these sales all happen between now and the beginning of the year. My first sale to share is this gorgeous red leather jacket by the brand Havas. And it wasn't a brand that I had heard of before. I think it's actually a European brand because on the tag it had the price in euros. And this I knew had value just based on the fact that it was genuine leather in a good color and the fact that it was new with tags, so the brand actually didn't matter. But either way, this sold for $40 on eBay. After fees, I earned $34.36. I paid only $2.27 at a local fill-a-bag sale, and my total profit for this item was $32.09. So this is your sign. If you can thrift high quality leather pieces, it may be worth it regardless of the brand, because high quality genuine leather will last forever and ever and ever as long as it's taken care of properly, and people online know this and it's something that they search for on our online stores. My next sale is by a shoe brand that I said in a different video I was going to try out, and so far I've been happy with how it's performed and how quickly they've sold, and also at the price point they've sold at. And the brand is Nayot or Nayot. I'm still quite not sure how to say that, but they are known for their comfort, and I find that comfort shoe brands have really performed well for me because I think people don't want to mess around when it comes to the comfort of their feet on vacation, or if they just do a lot of walking in general. No one's trying to have feet that are hurting. So a comfort shoe is worth every penny for a lot of people. So I sold these sandals for $38.25. After eBay's fees, I made $31.58. I paid only $2.27 for these at a local fill-a-bag sale in my area, bringing me to a total profit of $29.31. So Nayot will definitely continue to be a brand that I will probably get when I see it at the thrift store, as long as it's at the right price point, because I definitely think they have a following on the resale markets. You know you've been doing this for a while when you're able to just look at something and have a really good gut feeling about it, and it turns out to be a home run of a sale. And that's exactly what happened with these next shoes that I'm about to share. They are by the brand Swedish Has-Beens, and as soon as I saw them, I knew they looked valuable. And it's also not often that you see shoes from Sweden. So of course I looked them up quickly in the store, and it turns out I was right. They are in fact very valuable, and these sold within only 1 day of being listed on eBay for $89. After fees, I earned $76.62. I paid only $6.89 at the 2nd Avenue thrift store near me, bringing me to a total profit of $69.73. So amazing, amazing sale. I hope to find that brand again because that was great. Okay, this next sale has sort of a funny story behind it too. My husband and I did a quick 2-night getaway to Philly, and before we headed home on our last day, we decided to just walk around and browse in some of the little shops. And there was a consignment store with a rack outside that was the sale rack, and I found not one but 2 Johnny Was floral tops in a size 3X. And they were marked at $18. And that, for some people, might sound like a crazy amount to pay, but this was a situation where it's actually totally appropriate to pay that, because if you look up Joni Was tops on eBay, specifically in a size 3X, the comps are, first of all, fantastic, but also that size has a 100% sell-through rate, which means there is pretty much a 100% chance of that item selling within 90 days. And this sold actually in only one day. So that same day, we got home from Philly, I photographed the item, and then later that evening it already sold for an offer of $55 on eBay. And I actually think that I could have gotten closer to the $75 mark if I would have waited a little bit, but I was comfortable with the $55, considering that would pay for both of the shirts I got, and I still have another one to sell. So yeah, that was pretty amazing, and I was perfectly happy to just sell that in one day and get it out the door. I love being able to say that something sold the same day that I listed it. It's amazing when that happens. So that sold, like I said, for $55. After eBay fees, my earnings were $49.16. As mentioned, I paid $18, bringing me to a total profit of $31.16. We have a little visitor that was meowing to get in this room. You're too loud! This next sale was an exciting one because it was a little bit of an experiment for me. I've been experimenting with picking up 100% silk pieces with little regard to the brand, and I wanted to see if they would sell just based on the material content alone, because a lot of people look for 100% silk. A lot of people like to sleep in 100% silk. So this was a quick sale, and this was a 100% silk black robe by the brand Winter Silks, and I do believe this was a vintage piece based on the appearance of the tag. It looked like it had some age to it, and I got this at a local consignment store right near my house, and this sold very quickly on Poshmark for $44. After fees, my earnings were $32.88. I paid only $5.99 for this, and that brought me to a total profit of $26.89. So you best believe I'm going to continue to thrift 100% silk pieces for my online store. This next sale is by a very reliably selling brand for me, and the brand is Ms. Moose, and I have sold every pair of shoes from this brand that I have ever listed. They don't stick around for very long, and again, just one of those comfort shoe brands that is known for their construction and the materials that they are made from. So they're almost always genuine leather and also very, very comfortable shoes. So clearly something that people out there are looking for. So these sold for $53, and they're honestly unassuming when you look at them. They look pretty plain, they don't look too special, but definitely remember this brand. I really recommend picking it up to resell because I have had great experience for it. So $53, like I said. After fees, I earned $40.38. I paid just $2.27 at a local fill-a-bag sale, and that brought me to a profit of $38.11. So love finding this brand. Let's hope that I find it many, many more times in the future. This next sale was another 100% silk experiment. So this was a set by Victoria's Secret. It had this pretty blue ombre coloring. It was a pair of wide leg pants with a matching halter top. And as mentioned, this was 100% silk. And this was, I wasn't sure what era of Victoria's Secret this tag was from. It maybe is Y2K. This could have been from the early 2000s, but it also could be from like the early 2010s. Let me know if you know about Victoria's Secret tags and using them to date the item, because I knew nothing, but I did have a good gut feeling about this piece. Sure enough, it sold on Depop for my full asking price. So from this sale, I earned $51.58. I paid only $5.60, bringing me to a profit of $45.98 for this set. So like I said, I'm going to continue to grab the 100% silk when I see it because it has been performing amazingly. Okay, the next sale is a pair of shoes by the brand Fin Comfort, and you might remember these from my fill-a-bag sale video, which is where I picked these up, and it was a new brand to me, but they just looked really well constructed and nice, which led me to look them up. And I remember being so shocked at some of the retail prices of this brand. So they make sandals and then also sneakers. The sandals retail in like the mid 200s, but some of their sneakers retail for in the 400s, which is wild. So these sold on eBay. They sold for $59.50. My earnings after fees were $50.65. I paid only $2.14 at the fill-a-bag sale, bringing me to a profit of $48.51 for these shoes. I actually feel like I probably could have gotten more for them, but because I paid so little, I don't want to be greedy. If I'm comfortable with the amount of profit that I will make, I'll usually just go ahead and accept an offer as long as the offer is reasonable. And I was glad I sold them to the buyer I did, because they said that they had a stroke and these are great shoes for them. And they said that they wear an AFO, which is like a brace to help you walk, and that the AFO fit perfectly in these shoes. So I was so happy to be able to provide them a good deal, and hopefully now they have a pair of shoes that are comfortable and great to walk in. Okay, my next sale is by the brand Ralph Lauren, and it was this maroon blazer, and it had some gold embroidered monogramming on the chest pocket. And the whole Ralph Lauren brand definitely falls into the preppy and old money aesthetic that is really having a moment right now. So I did use the word old money in my title. I'm not sure if that's what sold this item or not, but I'm sure it didn't hurt. This sold very quickly within only a few days of being listed for $32. My earnings after fees were $27.07. I paid only $2.14 at a local fill-a-bag sale, and my profit was $24.93. So very happy with this one. I'm going to continue to keep my eye out for items that fit into that preppy old money aesthetic. Okay, my next sale is by an Anthropologie brand called Hutch, and it's an Anthropologie brand that I love finding. I feel like I usually find it in plus size for some reason, which is actually best case scenario because plus size Anthro performs very, very well. So this was a little gingham print romper in a 3X, and this sold on eBay for $75. After fees, my earnings were $65.69. I paid only $2.27 at the fill-a-bag sale for this, bringing me to a profit of $63.42. So fantastic sale. I love finding this brand by Anthropologie. I don't need to tell you that all Anthropologie is not made equal. You definitely can't pick up a size small shirt from Anthropologie and expect it to sell for $75 like this did, but this was an example of an Anthropologie item performing amazingly. So definitely very happy with that sale. Okay, the next sale is by the brand Merrell, and it's one of those brands that I feel like is often overlooked, but looking back on all my Merrell sales throughout the year, I have pretty much always sold reliably anything that I've listed by this brand. So they definitely have a following, and I think it's warranted because they make really high quality and functional shoes. They can be unassuming looking, which I feel like is why they might be overlooked sometimes, but definitely consider, if you find a pair, consider looking them up, and if it's the right price point for you, grabbing them to flip online. So these were a pair of nubuck leather little Chelsea ankle boots, and they sold on eBay, unsurprisingly, for $45. After fees, my earnings were $36.86. I paid $2.27 at the fill-a-bag sale, bringing my profit to $34.59. So very pleased with that sale. Love selling Merrell. My next sale was a vintage Christian Dior wool blazer. It was in this really cool purple color, and I was pretty positive it was vintage based on the appearance of the tag, so I did include that in my listing title. And I did not want this to sit around forever. Sometimes designer items can really sit around for a long time. So I accepted an offer on this of $35, and it ended up selling pretty quickly, I think within a couple weeks or a month. And my earnings after fees were $28. This was from the fill-a-bag sale as well. I paid only $2.27 for it, bringing my total profit to $25.73. So you might think that you could get a little bit more for an item like this. Like I said, designer is totally all over the place. Just because something is designer doesn't mean you're going to get $100 or $75 or even close for it. But of course you want to look up each specific item to see how it will do. But because this was so cheap, I definitely wanted to get it because I knew I could get at least a decent amount for it. Okay, these, I really liked these. You could tell they were genuine leather just by looking at them, and then when I picked them up to inspect them, I could just tell they were so well made and very high quality. And they were only a couple dollars at the fill-a-bag sale, so I grabbed them, and it turns out this brand, Vera Cruz Artisans, is sold at Sundance, or at least it was at one time, and these sold within one day for $30. My earnings after fees were $24. I only paid $2.14 for them, bringing me to a total profit of $21.86. So I will hope to find this brand again. It was my first time ever finding it. I never heard of it before, but just based on how high quality they looked, I knew it was something that I would want to grab, and now someone has a really nice high quality pair of leather sandals. Okay, I don't exactly know how to pronounce this next brand, but it's either Astar the label or ASTR the label, and this is a brand sometimes sold at Revolve, sometimes sold at Nordstrom, sometimes sold at Anthropologie, and I think they're kind of known for wedding guest and special occasion dresses. So they have a lot of pretty floral print and lacy dresses, gorgeous, gorgeous pieces. And this one was new with tag. It was this pretty pink lace midi dress, and I sold this for I think $35, and my earnings after fees were $25.98. I paid $2.27 at the fill-a-bag sale, bringing me to a profit of $23.71. So that's a brand that I would definitely consider purchasing again at the right price point. They make really, really pretty stuff. Okay, another Naote sale. This was a pair of little Mary Jane comfort shoes, and these sold on Depop, which was a little surprising because I don't picture the typical Depop shopper wearing something like this. So from this sale, I received $36.30 for these. I paid $4.76 for these at 2nd Avenue thrift store, bringing me to a profit of $31.54. I did have to pay for shipping out of that. On Depop, I just charge a flat rate for shipping and use Pirate Ship. I find that that has better rates than Depop's shipping. But yeah, that was a great sale, and I will continue to get this brand as long as it continues to perform well for me. Okay, my next sale is by the brand Affliction, and Affliction is sort of that brand that is like just the epitome of Y2K grunge fashion, and their pieces are always bold. Sometimes they have cutouts like this one, sometimes they have angel wings, sometimes they're bedazzled. So it's grungy but also like a little bit girly. It's hard to describe, but Affliction is like, if you know, you know. And this was really unsurprisingly a Depop sale, and from that sale I received $23.72. It sold like right away, by the way. I paid only $2.14, bringing me to a profit of $21.58. So I did have to then pay shipping out of that. It was just a shirt, so probably not too much, but just want to be transparent that I did have some additional costs there. Okay, this was a dress from my last thrifting video where I went to my local Goodwill, and it was an Abercrombie linen blend floral halter dress, maxi length, and it sold within only 1 or 2 days of being listed for $38, bringing me earnings of $30.40. I paid only $6. I averaged my cost of goods that day, so I think it actually might have cost a little more, but that was my average cost of goods, and that brought me to a profit of $24.40. Longer length Abercrombie dresses like that are pretty much always gonna be a pickup. They are so popular right now, and now is the season that everyone's looking for vacation dresses, wedding guest dresses, all that good stuff. So I definitely listed this at the right time, right as we're changing into spring and summer, and now someone has a great dress for the season. Okay, so this next one, I loved this sweater. This was a cardigan by the brand Erin Crafts, and you can see the cable knitting throughout. Just by looking at that, you can tell this is well made. But Erin Crafts is from Ireland, and they make everything out of 100% pure wool, and they are just such a good brand with very well made pieces. And pretty much for the most part, if you find something by this brand at the thrift, you should be getting it, as long as it's not too damaged, too expensive, or shrunken because somebody washed their wool in warm water or put it in the dryer or something like that. So this sold pretty quickly, within a few weeks, I would say. On Depop, I received $43.93. I purchased this at a local Goodwill for $7.66. That was an average cost for that thrift trip. And from that sale, I made a profit of $36.27, but not really, because I did have to pay a little bit for shipping out of that, but still a really good sale that I was totally happy with. Also, this had a few holes, but they were right along the seam, so that probably means I could have gotten more if it didn't have those holes. And because they're right along the seam, it's going to be easy for the buyer to sew it if they know how. And that's just a testament to how well this brand performs, because even with the holes, I was still able to sell it for $43. So can you imagine? I would have gotten a little more if it didn't have those flaws. And I don't normally like selling things with flaws, but this was a little bit of an exception because I know how well this brand can perform. Okay, last two sales are both by the brand Dansko, one of my favorites. So these are the Dansko Frida sandals. They were a strappy style brown leather wedge heel, and wedges are not even all that popular anymore, and they often don't sell too well, but these did. I sold them for $39. My earnings after fees were $31.20. I paid only $2.27 for them. You can probably guess where. And that brought me to a profit of $28.93. So tried and true brand, one of those brands that I love to find and always is reliable for me. Okay, the other pair of Danskos was the Fanny Mary Janes, another wedge style. So maybe I'm actually wrong about wedges not being in style anymore. These sold for $35 and my earnings after fees were $28. I paid only $2.14, bringing me to a profit of $25.86 for these. So very happy with that. Love my Danskos. That is all 20 of my sales that brought me a profit of over $20 each. Thank you for hanging out with me and hope you learned some valuable information and learned what you should maybe be looking for to thrift in spring and summer of 2025. And comment below what your favorite sale of mine was, or anything you want to say, any comments, questions, thoughts, suggestions. I want to hear it all. And that will be it for this one, but I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks again for watching. Bye!